I first heard about Bill's passing away, it obviously triggered a lot of emotion and also wonderful memories. The three characteristics that really come to mind with him: he was caring, he helped, and he was loving. As a Christian man, he knew that he was to serve and not to be served. And that's what he did. He did it every day with the clients. And we like to believe that all of our clients are incredibly loyal to us, but I can tell you, Bill's clients were, wherever Bill went, they were following, and rightfully so. Bill felt the same way about the clients, but he also brought the caring and helping and loving aspect to our firm, and it's the reason why all the partners loved him too. You just couldn't be around him and not just put a smile on your face. For a mountain of a man who could be intimidating, etc., he was a marshmallow. He just wanted to give you a big hug, and he did a lot. And when he did, he would just engulf you. I will always miss Bill, but I can tell you that as the time goes on, when I think of Bill, I'll always smile. And I can't think of a better tribute to a life well lived.
So you practice law, and a lot of people come and go, and you remember them for a minute or two. But Bill's one of those people that you remember for a long time. He was a fantastic lawyer, so he was the best at what he did. He was a subject matter specialist. He had a national reputation. All of those things are great, but they really don't describe the person that Bill was. So Bill gets diagnosed with this horrible disease 13 years ago. And really what's remarkable is that 13-year journey where Bill never complains. He never loses his sense of humor. He never stops coming to the office. He is really the soul of the Tulsa office and has been since it started. And really so humbling. You think about the things you complain about every day, and then you see somebody like Bill who doesn't complain, and you see his family, his wife Karen and his kids Jake and Sarah. And it really is like, I know this sounds corny, but a huge life lesson that Bill enjoyed the joy in life every single day from the day that he got diagnosed. So when Bill came in, you put down your work, which seemed very trivial compared to being able to talk to Bill, be able to share what was going on in Bill's life with him. And this whole theme that Bill started going fishing and started enjoying it was such a life lesson for all of us. So when Bill retired, although he never really retired, we had those hats made that said Bill's gone fishing. And God, he wore that thing every day from the day he retired on. He loved fishing. He loved being with his family and with his friends and with nature. Bill taught us a lot of lessons, but the best, the joy of life is in the journey.
Well, he was an excellent and imaginative lawyer, very skilled professionally, but more than that, he was just a great friend to all of us. In sports, they have a term they call a glue guy. And the glue guy is a player that kind of holds the team together. And for us, Bill was a glue guy. He kind of bound us more closely together. And when you talk with Bill, it wasn't just about law. I mean, he wanted to talk to you about what was going on in your life, what was happening with your family, what you were thinking about. And he was, in those talks, he would share with you what he was thinking, what was going on with his family. And, you know, whatever he was talking with you about, whether it was sports or fishing or law or life in general, anything, those talks were kind of like the whole body embrace. And we all enjoyed those talks, and, you know, we'll remember them. They won't go away anytime soon. We'll remember them fondly. Don't miss them.
I first met Bill like 14 years ago, and we kind of quickly hit it off. And the thing that first connected us was our love for Oklahoma State University sports. Bill was a big sports nut. He played basketball and all kinds of sports in high school, went on to Oklahoma State, and loved the Cowboys almost as much as I do. Throughout this battle with multiple myeloma, what perhaps impressed me the most is how strong a man that Bill was. He outlived all, expectations, medical expectations. And I think the thing that drove him the most was his family and his love for his wife, Karen, and for his kids, Sarah and Jake. I remember talking to him, relatively recently, and it was like, Bill, did you ever think you'd fight this long so that you would see Sarah and Jake get married and have 4 grandbabies? And I don't think he really did, but I think that's what kind of kept him going. So probably the most important thing I think that Bill impressed upon me was the importance of being with your family, being with your immediate family, and being present for those important times. So there are a lot of photographs of Bill fishing, of course, and, family gatherings and that sort of thing. But some of the most interesting photos were Bill on the floor playing Hot Wheels with his grandchildren. And I was just like, Bill is right in his element because he can get on that level and connect, even though he's, larger than life and a very big man, get on the floor and play Hot Wheels with his grandchildren. And he's just a little kid again. I'm going to miss him, but I take with me all the things that Bill taught me as being a husband and a dad and to being a good human.
On a professional level, Bill was really a brilliant attorney who handled complex legal issues that were way above my pay grade. He had a really easy and comforting way of making those issues simple, even to a simple girl. But, as a partner, he was pretty unassuming. He was always willing to be the guy in the background who provided you with the support, and he was willing to let you shine in the way that you needed to shine. So I always appreciated that. He tickled me because to be such a big guy, a big imposing guy, he could blush and giggle. And it wasn't really even a chuckle, it was more of a giggle. And so I think one of the best things about going to lunch with him would be to see him kind of get flustered and giggle a little bit. And in thinking about him and all the things that he loved his law partners. And we loved him in return. And there's a big hole there in our hearts.
When I think of Bill as in my discussion here, my comments are really as Bill as my friend and really not Bill as the amazing lawyer that we all knew him to be. And so there's so many things I could talk about related to how amazing he was as a lawyer. But as a person, I think he was even better. Early on, when I was brand new working with Bill in probably about 2008, I think, we were working on something really hard, really difficult for a client that involved a lot of risk. And we had to give a memo to the client on something complicated. And if we're wrong about it, it would be really bad. And Bill said, leave your name off of the memo and put mine on it. He said, I don't want your name on because if this thing goes haywire, I want to be the one that's responsible. And so that's kind of the person that Bill was, always caring about people around him, always looking out for you when you're young or even when you're old. When I think of Bill, I think of someone who's kind. He's positive. He's always very positive, unless he was mad at stupid people. He would say, I don't like stupid people. He would say, he's funny. He was really funny. He was loyal. He was there for you when you need him. Very smart, very generous. He's notorious for giving his secretary cash out of his pocket, extra bonuses at the end of the year, and helping people around him when needed.
He was smiley. He smiled a lot. You know, he kind of, and we talked about his rocking, you know, someone else I think might have, but he smiled and rocked a lot. Respected, very much respected. There's probably nobody that's more respected as a benefits lawyer in our practice group than Bill was. He never complained. You know, he was sick and dealing with all these difficult things, and he never complained about that. In fact, I think the way he handled his illness was just so admirable, kind of how calm and accepting he was, and it's really kind of inspiring. He was tough. He was a fighter. He was a great friend, and he was loved by everybody. I don't think that you would find anybody in the firm that worked with Bill that would have anything bad to say about him. Just a really good human being.
So Bill was the best of us. He was an incredible lawyer, a loyal friend, and just a good person. He was a wonderful mentor to me, and I was so lucky to be able to work with him and to be his friend for my entire career at the firm. Bill was beloved by everyone, his colleagues, his friends, especially his clients. There were so many clients that worked with him for decades, and he trusted me and trained me to be able to interface with them, you know, as he was phasing out and eventually retired. Bill really understood and valued training and mentoring our young lawyers, and even just creating a collaborative practice group. Everyone in our group would reach out to Bill with tricky issues. And I remember, you know, clients would call and we'd be talking through something, and I would have so much anxiety because I didn't know what they were talking about, or I understood, but I didn't know the solution. And then to be able to call Bill and talk to him, and his response was pretty much always the same. Oh yeah, I've done that before. I'll write it up for you. And he always would. He would get out his legal pad, his yellow pad, and write out handwritten notes and give them to me the next time we saw each other. And if you go look on my desk now, you will see stacks of these. These are things that I will have forever and never get rid of because you know, they're just invaluable to me. His input was always invaluable to me. And even as I progressed in my career and became more proficient, you know, we would be talking and I would maybe send him something to look at, you know, a memo that I wrote, you know, would you look at this and make sure that I didn't miss anything here, or let me know your thoughts. And he would call me up and he'd say, good job. You know, he's like, I don't think you need me anymore. And I would always tell him, Bill, I am always going to need you. And I probably could have practiced with him for many, many more years and still would have always sought out his guidance and support. Bill was my mentor, and I'm a better lawyer for having worked with him. And I'm so grateful for everything that he did to put me on a path to success. And I'm also so grateful to his family for sharing him with us for so long.